Here we go, the inbound of McGinnis. Drive, stop, on, shoot, short, no good, and the game is over! Kermit on the inbound play, inbound, fades at the horn, he scores! They score, and they win it! Bango, bango. Yes, sir. Bounce pass to Ainge, Ainge for three. Rip! Yes, sir.
Blake now throws to Roy. Brandon, a three-pointer out front. Hit it! Yes, he did! Oh, yeah! Deep three. Oh! What? Blazers win the series. A walk-off three from Lillard.
It's a new era in Portland.
Rebound Sharp, put back dunk, and a new career high for Shaedon Sharp.
I will miss the chance to learn from Dame, but we also have Anthony Simons and JG, guys that have been around him. I won't miss the development on my own part.
It's the fifth quarter with Chad Dewing and Chris Burkhardt. The fifth quarter is presented by Frost Brewed Coors Light, made to chill.
Show me your Blazer. All right, what's going on, my friends? Fifth quarter, Chad Dewing, Chris Burkhardt with you as the Blazers get a 109-104 victory over the Phoenix Suns. Really an exciting game and a terrific second half by your Portland Trail Blazers. Telephone number 503-248-0620. You can also jump on YouTube right now, youtube.com. Go to our homepage, Rip City Radio 620, and you can pull up the live link to our show and be able to see the stream here in studio and take part in our YouTube chat. 109-104, the final. The Blazers get the win and snap their 7-game losing streak. They'll be back at it on Thursday. The Wizards will be in town, and a chance for your Portland Trail Blazers to make it back-to-back wins. Well, tonight, the Blazers got off to a slow start. At the 9:14 mark of the first quarter, the Blazers trailed by a score of 7-5, but the Suns responded with a 14-3 run to take a 21-8 lead that was powered by Grayson Allen, who scored 5 during that stretch, along with 4 from Devin Booker. After a 3-point play from Scoot Henderson, the Blazers trailed 28-18 with 3:06 to play in the period, but 2 buckets from Kevin Durant and a hoop from Drew Eubanks allowed the Suns to close the quarter on an 8-2 run. Phoenix led 36-20 at the end of the first quarter. For the Suns, Durant and Booker each scored 9 in the first. The Suns shot 70% from the floor. The Blazers got 7 from Jeremy Grant and 7 from Scoot Henderson. Portland connected on just 33% of their shots in the first. Even worse, Portland committed 10 turnovers in the first period, leading to 11 points for the Suns. Now, we head into the second. Phoenix led 41-25 with 9:32 remaining in the first half after a pull-up jumper from Booker. And then finally, the Trailblazers started to show some life. The Blazers responded with an 18-4 run that was led by Jabari Walker. He scored 9 during that stretch, and the Blazers cut the deficit to 2 at 45-43 with 5:30 remaining in the first half after a bucket from DeAndre Ayton. At that point, the Suns responded with a 16-6 run. Durant led the charge during that spurt, scoring 12 points in the final 5 minutes of the half, giving the Suns a 61-49 halftime lead. Durant scored 12 in the second. He finished the half with 21, and Devin Booker had 8 in the quarter, 17 in the first half. The Suns were able to connect on 52% of their shots in the first half. Jabari Walker led Portland with 9 in the second quarter, while the Blazers shot 47% from the field in the quarter. At the half, Grant was 7, Ant had 6, and both Scoot and Walker each had 9. Nasir Little opened the third with a 3, pushing the Suns' lead to 64-49, but the Blazers responded with a 10-0 run that was powered by Simons, Grant, Ayton, and Kamara, forcing a Suns timeout with 8:54 to go in the third. The run continued to 14-zip before a Booker bucket pushed the Suns' lead back to 66-63 with just over 7 minutes remaining in the third. The Blazers continued to roll, pushing their lead and their run to 22-3 following a 3-point play from Grant. At that point, Portland took a 71-67 lead at around the 6-minute mark of the third quarter. At the 2:39 mark of the third, the Blazers had outscored the Suns 33-14, taking an 82-75 lead. The Suns scored 6 straight, followed by a Malcolm Brogdon 3. Blazers take an 87-81 lead into the fourth. The Blazers outscored Phoenix 38-20 in the third. That was Portland's best scoring quarter of the season. They connected on 53% of their shots in the quarter, including a sizzling 6 of 9 from three-point range. Portland forced 6 Suns turnovers in the third, and they held them to just 40% shooting. A 3 from Simons gave the Trailblazers a 94-87 advantage with 8:32 left in the game. The Blazers would continue to roll as they pushed their lead to 14 at 105-91, thanks to an 11-4 run capped off by a Malcolm Brogdon three-pointer with 4:26 remaining. At this point, the Blazers were cruising. Offense and defense was on point. But, of course, the NBA, as you know, teams always typically will make a push, and the Suns countered with an impressive 13-2 run after a couple of free throws from Kevin Durant. That cut the Blazers' advantage to 3 at 107-104 with less than 30 seconds remaining in the game. Anthony Simons responded after a Trailblazers timeout to hit a running jumper with 10.7 seconds on the clock. It gave the Blazers a 5-point lead at 109-104. The Suns missed 3-pointers from Kevin Durant and Grayson Allen on their final possession, and the game was over. The Blazers get the win, 109-104. They end their 7-game losing streak, and they improved to 7-19 on the season. On the night, Toumani Camara, 21 minutes, a lot of great defense, 5 points, and 9 rebounds. Jeremy Grant had 22 points in 35 minutes, 8 of 15 shooting, 3 of 4 from downtown. He also contributed 4 assists. DeAndre Ayton tonight got off to a slow start, but was much needed. 40 minutes of action, 16 points, 15 rebounds, and 3 assists. He was really big time in that second half. Shaedon Sharpe left the game with the abductor strain or irritation. He played just 8 minutes in the game. Anthony Simons finished with 23 points, a team high. He was 9 of 23 shooting and 2 of 7 from downtown. 17 of his 23 coming in that critical second half. Off the bench, Scoot Henderson, 9 points. He had 5 assists in 29 minutes of action, 3 of 9 from the floor. Matisse Thybulle with 8 points. Good energy from Matisse in 20 minutes of action. Malcolm Brogdon, he was critical because they turned to him in the second half with Shaedon Sharpe out of the lineup. 32 minutes, 14 points, 5 of 10 from the floor, 4 of 9 from downtown. They got 4 minutes from Reef and a great second quarter from Jabari Walker. 9 points on 3 of 3 shooting, had a couple of rebounds, and he was pivotal because he led the team in scoring in that second quarter, and he was one of the guys that kind of spearheaded that push to get him back in the game. And, you know, you got to respect his effort. But he's been doing that all year, which is really nice. The Blazers shot 44% on the night. They were plus 27 at the three-point line. They were 14 of 28 from downtown, 8 of 16 in the second half, 50% from 3. The Suns just 5 of 23. Portland was 17 of 19 from the free throw line. The Blazers were able to have a slight edge in second chance points, 13-11. They were outscored 62-36 in the paint. For the Suns, they got a game-high 40 points from Kevin Durant on 16 of 28 shooting. Yusuf Nurkic tonight, 9 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists. He was 4 of 11 from the field. Grayson Allen was able to chip in 11 on 5 of 10 shooting, and Devin Booker, second in points for the Suns, 26, but he was just 11 of 25 shooting, 1 of 5 from downtown. They got 5 off the bench from Gordon and 5 from Drew Eubanks, but the Blazers with a major edge in bench production tonight. 43 to 14 edge in bench points for the Blazers. And there you have it. Portland snaps the slide. They get the win 109-104, and now they can move on to Thursday. But, you know, as we were talking about the other night, this team, they're laying the foundation of their culture and what they want to be and the way that Chauncey wants them to play. As I mentioned the other night, they don't have a losing culture. They're establishing it right now, who they are and what they want to be. But I continue to be impressed by the effort level of this team, how hard they play, the way they compete, the way they're responding to Coach Billups, and then, of course, the intensity and the improvement that we've seen throughout the course of this year defensively. And then when you combine that with the growth of the young players, you know, you can see signs of life, which is nice. and I'm enjoying watching it play. I'm having fun sitting back and watching this group compete, especially against some of the better teams in competition across the NBA. All right, we'll come back on fifth quarter. We'll keep things rolling. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Shot of the night is coming up. We'll get your phone calls mixed in. Blazers get a much-needed win.
Liberty Coin and Currency presents the fifth quarter shot of the night. Liberty Coin and Currency, the place to buy and sell your gold, silver, jewelry, and coins.
Simons for the baseline, looks to get it in. Grayson Allen will defend the inbound pass. Gets it into Jeremy Grant. Top of the key to Simons, down to 5 to shoot. 3. He takes off, Simons drives, puts it up, goal! 10.7 remaining. Timeout, Phoenix. Blazers by 5, 109-104. 23 for Anthony Simons.
That's what you get the big bucks for, Travis.
It's time for a fifth quarter scoreboard report powered by Columbia Heating and Cooling, raising your expectations of comfort.
All right, checking the NBA scoreboard tonight. Ja Morant, what a stud, makes his return from suspension, scores 34 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and drops in a game winner at the buzzer. The Grizzlies top the Pelicans 115-113 down in New Orleans. Memphis improves to 7-19 with the win. In Milwaukee, the Bucks top the Spurs 132-119 to improve to 20-7 on the year. San Antonio's a disaster at 4-22. Damian Lillard tonight, 40 points and 3 steals in the win. Final in overtime down in San Francisco, the Warriors improved to 13-14 as they top the Celtics 132-126. Steph Curry had 33 points and 6 assists. In the loss, Derek White, 30 points, 7 boards, and 3 blocks. And at Moda Center, the Trailblazers improved to 7-19, snapping a 7-game losing streak as they topped the Suns 109-104, outscoring Phoenix 38-20 in the third quarter. Jeremy Grant with 22 and Anthony Simons with a team-high 23 points. We'll come back on fifth quarter, and when we do, we're going to step into the coach's corner. We'll hear from Chauncey Billups and get his take on how things went down tonight at Moda Center. And we will get your phone calls as well. 503-248-0620. Fifth quarter here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
Thank you for that.
Time Jeep of Portland presents the Coach's Corner with Chauncey Billups. Time for a brand new ride from Time Jeep of Portland. You won't believe the huge deals they're offering. With over 300 new and used vehicles to choose from, you'll find the perfect ride for your new adventure at Time Jeep. Find us just minutes away from the Moda Center off I-84 or visit timejeep.com. Drive with time.
All right, Blazers snap a 7-game losing streak. They top the Suns tonight at Moda Center 109-104. Let's check in with Blazers coach Chauncey Billups.
I liked everything about DA's game, to be honest with you. I loved his aggressiveness. A lot of times run plays for him early just to try to get him aggressive and going, Of course, you have a little extra juice against your team, but, I told myself over the last couple of days, I said, I need to start just playing them more, we got to find a way to get some rhythm, 40's a lot, to be honest with you, but he did it, he took it. He's in phenomenal shape, and he never asked to come out or anything, so I just thought he had a phenomenal game the whole way through, and some of those shots that he missed, I'm just happy he took them, to be honest with you.
Is that your guys' defense kind of changed too? What did you guys do better?
Well, after the first quarter, there's usually a team that starts fast. We talked about trying to have a better first quarter, and we weren't able to get it done. But we came in at the half. Obviously, I thought we had a really good second quarter too, only 25 points for them. But we come in at the half, and I say, man, our defense will be so much better if we take care of the ball. If we just take care of it. We had 10 turnovers, which is how they got their 36 points in the first quarter. And then we did better every quarter after that, but in the second half, only 4 turnovers. So if they have to play against our half-court defense, I feel good, I feel like we give ourselves at least a chance in the game, and 20 points for them, and then 23 in the fourth, so that's third and fourth. That's very, very impressive, very impressive for our guys.
Is that what you would attribute the improvement in the second half, particularly in the third quarter, is just not turning the ball over, or what do you feel like the difference?
Well, defensively, we scrapped. We scrapped hard. I thought we did as good a job as you could do on KD, and he still gets 40, on 50% shooting. And then Book obviously had a good night too, but we did a good job on everybody else, and I thought we did a good job on them too. It's just greatness is greatness, but we were everywhere. I thought we did a good job of, with the exception of a couple times, finishing our possessions with rebounds and just running, they tried a few different defenses in the fourth quarter, and we made them pay, Then obviously Ant comes up with made a big time basket at the end.
Chauncey, even though Ant and DA both struggle from the field, I know it's hard to talk about in the moment, but when you get back to watch the tape tomorrow, you think you're going to like the process from what you got from those guys tonight, the shots that they took, and in the flow of everything?
I do, and I'll watch it again tonight, and probably some more tomorrow when I'm at the facility. But what I do like about it is those guys haven't played with each other very much. So there was some instances in the game today that happened, when they started blitzing and DA was catching the ball high up the floor. I thought he made some excellent passes, on time, on target to our guys. Well, that hasn't happened that much, because obviously Ant gets a different coverage than everybody. So I think those two will just continue to get better and better and more comfortable with each other, and then we'll start on the backside of it, getting more comfortable with DA and giving him some reads with guys cutting out of the corner or sliding down to the corner on the cut. So really, to be honest, I like that they stayed aggressive the whole time and just kind of figured it out, All
right, there you go. There's Chauncey Billups following the Blazers' 109-104 victory over the Suns tonight. Clearly, Coach happy with his team's effort. A tremendous second half and a dominant third quarter, and really good energy tonight, but multiple guys stepping up to make game-winning plays, and really good defense in the second half, too. Their execution on offense, the ball movement, the player movement in the second half, the defense, it was good, and the Blazers get the win. Let's go out to the phones. We'll start with Dan in Southeast. What's up, my brother?
What is going on, Chad, man? I'm pretty sure this is my first time calling in all season, and I know that's...
Certain of it.
I feel like that's a bad look to be calling in on a win like that, but, man, I've been here through this sun breaks and the showers, man. Like,
of course.
Whatever. It's just, and you're just going to have to trust me when part of it's that I don't like calling in early in the season just because we just don't know what we have. Like, I just feel like you got to let the cake bake a little bit. But I thought tonight was the night, not just because of the win, but I just loved so much of what I saw tonight. It's like you look at the other teams sitting at the bottom of the NBA, and you got, the Pistons. You mentioned the Spurs. I mean, obviously Wemby's going to, determine the direction of that franchise. But honestly, I've seen the Spurs play, and beyond him, it's not that great. And like the Wizards, I'm not even sure what's going on there. And I just feel like the Blazers are in such a better place than any of those other teams that are like in various stages of a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, man. It's hard to win a ring in the NBA, right? Like,
yeah.
You don't just need one all-world player. You really need two transcendent players in today's NBA, ideally. And you need a whole stack of qualified rotation guys behind them and guys that know their role. You got to have a coach that's capable of putting the whole thing together. You need an organization that's got a game plan and a blueprint. You need an owner that's willing to spend a lot of money. And you need luck in terms of other teams' fortunes and injuries and stuff. It's really hard. And it's funny how the Dame era has kind of just refined my expectations as we come to this rebuild. I'm like, I'm a deep thinker, but a simple man. I need three things right now. Be a show on offense, try on defense, make it a game in the fourth. And it's really telling to me that what I saw in terms of guys playing together and communicating and making plays, being alert on defense, anticipating moves, I'm like, we could blow this, and I'd be okay with it because the mistakes that we're making, when Chauncey talked about the turnovers, they're the mistakes of a young team. Like that's going to happen. And I don't know, when I look out there for the first time in years, for one, it's entertaining. Like any time there's a fast break, you're immediately sitting up because something's going to happen. It's great. And then on the other side of the ball, we're seeing the effort and we're seeing the engagement. And most importantly, Chad, when I look at the team and how they're playing and how they're communicating, you can see it. Like it's not there yet in terms of where they want to be, obviously. But you can see the vision of what the Blazers and Chauncey want out of this team. And that was something that was missing during a lot of the Dame, CJ, Nurk era. You're like, okay, that's great. We're going to win, we'll get 45 games. We'll, make it the 7th seed or whatever. What are we doing? Like, there's a ceiling on this. And when you watch them play right now, you can see the potential of the lineup. You see how these guys synergize when they're healthy and everybody's, able to suit up. And it just gets you really excited for the future to the point that, like, I'll take some frustrating losses and the turnovers. It really feels like part of a process, part of building something. And that's just great to see. Couple individual comments. It will not surprise you to learn that I've been on Team Kamara, from the outset. I think
great.
That guy's I hope Blazer fans recognize how rare it is and what a privilege it is to have a rookie. Forget about being, a plus defender. Having a rookie playing rotation minutes that isn't a liability on defense. Like, just him not causing problems on defense is nice. The fact that he's out there 25 games of the season playing 25, 30 minutes a night against the other team's best player for the majority of the game or for long stretches, that's extraordinary. And I think the ceiling's really high for him. I think it's going to be a real treat watching him develop as a player. And then finally, the stock line for a while has been, for me anyway, and for a lot of fans, has been, well, we're going to give Chauncey a pass because, the Dame situation and a lot of injuries. And, that's been a recurring theme the last couple of years. But I really feel like a lot of fans, and maybe even myself included at some point, had almost written him off a little bit. You can only have so many disappointing seasons when you're a head coach before people start saying, how can that guy not be part of the problem? Like, this is where good coaches distinguish themselves. And I really feel like I may have, undersold him. And, I'm not in the locker room, but clearly the message that he's given his players is getting through. You see it in their activity. You see it in the hands on defense, getting into the passing lanes.
Yeah.
I really think a lot of that has to come from the coach, and it's terrific to see. Great win tonight. I don't know how many we'll get, but I'll be calling more often. Great to be back.
It was great to hear your voice, man. Merry Christmas, Dan. It's great to hear your voice. He's right. Everything he said, I agree with, man. It's fun to watch. This team's got something cooking right now, regardless of wins and losses. You can see it in the effort level and the details, especially with the defense and the anticipation tonight in the second half. It was great. Let's go out to Victor in Turkey. We'll see if he's happy tonight, satisfied with that Trailblazer victory. Victor, my friend, did you like what you saw tonight?
Hi, my friend. You won't believe it if I tell you my story. I was kind of shocked. The first quarter and second quarter happened. Usually what I do, I turn off all the news because I have depression, and I was diagnosed with depression. So it's going to put me down. So, and also I am, you can call me a metaphysical guy. When I was a little boy, I used to listen to Pink Floyd and Jethro Tull from England. Maybe you know the name, Pink Floyd and Jethro Tull group.
Yeah, good stuff.
And then Jim, huh?
That's good music.
Yeah. Well, I call them metaphysical. I remember my neighbors, when they were listening to Jethro Tull and stuff, they were using marijuana. Marijuana was illegal in Turkey, but some of the guys, they get it the black market. But my neighbors, they were bigger than me, older, but they were listening to the Pink Floyd, and they were using the marijuana to get high. And I wondered, I said, why you do that? And he told me, hey, listen to the music. They are metaphysics. But anyways, when I was a boy, and then I'm from a religious family. So what I do, anytime the Blazer, they get behind, I turn everything off. And then I go outside, do some other things, and then I just keep praying. I mean, praying like, I try to think about universe and God and all stars and everything else. But what I'm saying is, I said, well, I don't want Blazer lose this. I'm after 7 times losing. And I said, I talked to Jesus, I said, Jesus, please don't let me down. And then I just was a little bit, encouraged. And then I came back home. And then when I turned on the news, and then I heard they won, I said, God answered my connection. But I was so excited, and I tell you, I think that if we get more involved with Ayton, I told you last time, if we get Ayton more involved, that he was a shining star, we get more involved, he's going to be a big factor in winning games. That was one of the reasons I believe that you said that the Ayton came shining, and stuff like that, and the Blazers, they have a good. This was a turning point. I think this was a turning point. I'm going to do the same thing in the next game and the next following games, and believe me, I'm going to call you back. I think, the way I pray for this team, they're going to have more winning. Of course, I don't expect them to win the championship, but I feel that they're going to have like a more winning coming along. And I tell you something else, that America is a secular society, is a scientific society, but also America has more churches in the entire Europe. If you count all the churches in entire 30 countries in Europe, America has more churches. So I don't underestimate that. America is a perfect society, is a scientific society, but also is a religious country. That's my belief. I don't know your opinion, my friend.
I appreciate the phone call, my friend. It's always great to hear your voice, and I appreciate your thoughts. You sound like I do when it comes to watching sports, where if my team is struggling, I will sometimes head outside. I'll turn it off. I'm like, I got to get away from this nonsense for a while. But you're the best, man. I'm glad you enjoyed the game tonight. And Trailblazers, very impressive, especially in that second half as they topped the Suns 109-104. Let's go out to Ron in Salt Lake. Ron, my friend, Merry Christmas, buddy. What's cracking?
Chad, Merry Christmas to you and Burkhardt. I was talking to Burkhardt just for a few minutes before I got on here, and I think for Christmas you ought to give Burkhardt like 2 consecutive days off. Totally free. What do you think?
I'm all about that. Chris can have whatever he wants, man. This has been a long month for him. The guy's a grinder.
He is a grinder. Like, I'm completely impressed. Burkhardt, he is putting in the time, and it'll pay off. Speaking a little bit of Burkhardt, you guys both know, I wanted to give a huge shout-out before I comment on the game to Travis. You guys have both met my boy Tyler. He was in the studio that one night that we were there, and I think Burkhardt's done a few things with him. My boy works for the Jazz. Now, he's not a Jazz fan per se, but, we live here in Utah. He's graduating this month in broadcast journalism. He's worked for the Jazz for a couple of years, and he helps with the production. He works with the radio, the guys, and David Locke and those guys out here in Salt Lake, and occasionally he does works with the visiting team. Well, a few weeks back, when the Jazz came to town, Tyler, my boy, was assigned to Travis and the crew, and Tyler had nothing but great things to say about Travis. He said he was cool, he was kind, he was a class act. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Travis for being a true professional and treat my boy, very well. So
that's good, man. That sounds like the Travis I know. That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're listening, Travis, thanks, man. That's a class act. Hey, I want to ask, generally speaking, Chad, I think when rookies come into the league, I know it takes time for them to develop. In some cases, it takes 2 or 3 years before they really manifest themselves. But I think, generally speaking, you can get a pretty good idea if somebody really has what it takes to become something special in the NBA. It may not come to fruition for a few years, but you can see their stroke and their shot. You can see this, just the athletic ability, the talent, things that they do. I'm not going to lie to you. I know it's early. I'm not jumping to conclusions, but I'm a bit concerned about Scoot. The guy just flat out cannot shoot. I know point guards take a little bit more time to develop generally. But, when Dame came into the league, you could see it early. You could just see the signs that this was going to be a special, special kid. Quite frankly, I haven't seen that, Chad, and I'm a little concerned about that. Your thoughts?
I'm concerned mostly about his shooting percentage, his inability to shoot the three consistently, which was a problem coming out of the G League. In comparison to Dame, the difference there is that Dame played 4 full years of college and was much older in his early 20s when he came into the NBA, which is a big difference from a guy, coming straight from the G League to the NBA at the age of 19.
Yes, I agree with you. I'd push back just a little bit because I would maybe make the argument that 2 years in the G League is more valuable than 4 years at Weber State. I don't think, I don't know.
I agree. I agree in terms of competition level and the coaching you get in the G League, you could be correct there. But what I'm trying to say is that a guy at 23 or 24 entering the NBA is much different than a young man at 19, right? Because Scoot's still growing into his body, maturity. There's so many different things. You know as well as I do, the difference between a 19-year-old and a 23-year-old or 24-year-old it's night and day. It was probably night and day for both you and I. I know it was for me. So
100%. 100%. You make a good point on that.
So, the age is a factor. For me, it's the shooting percentage. The guy shot well below 30% from three in the G League. And I know you can improve your shooting percentage, but how much? Can he become a 36% three-point shooter? Can he get it to 38? Because in today's NBA, if you can't shoot the three and you continue to shoot a poor percentage from downtown, that's going to be a problem. And that's for me, that's my biggest concern with Scoot is the lack of consistency from distance.
Well, I agree. And what is his ceiling when it comes to shooting? You look at the Currys, the Danes. You look at guys who come into the league. You know if they've got a good stroke, and they've already got that fundamental jump shot down. Yes, work is going to improve it. But here's why it's a main concern. You look at Ant and Sharp. That looks like a dynamic duo potentially for several years. And I just look and I say, man, what could we have done with that third pick in drafting somebody to complement Scoot and or not Scoot, but Sharp and Anthony, because Anthony's looking very, very good. He's improved his defense. Sharp, I think, it's just a matter of time before he's a major star. And so, I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch, but he's a young kid. I love his work ethic. I love his attitude. I love his frame. It just concerns me that the guy just will never, ever flat out be able to shoot the basketball.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's a concern. I don't think you're the only one that's worried about that, and that's something that's going to be, they're going to have to pay attention to, and it could be, part of the reason why they may wait as long as possible before they make a decision on what they're going to do with the guards, because they can't keep all three forever. Let's go out to Hermiston and bring in Pat. Pat, appreciate the call. Welcome back to the fifth quarter. What's going on?
Yeah, it's been a while, Chad. I think last time I called you, I said, I can't watch this stuff anymore, and hats off to you for powering through it. But I've really enjoyed this team, how they fight, how they compete, That guy was talking about praying a little bit earlier. I want him to be a little careful. I don't want him messing up our draft pick this year. Absolutely. But, I'm on Blazers' Edge quite a bit, and a lot of guys are getting really frustrated and stuff. And just, I go back to my high school coaches would talk about repetition and drills to where you went from thinking your way through things to where it was just an automatic reaction. And I think when we have a young team and a lot of new players, that's just what we're seeing. So, anyways, glad you're still on the air in Portland, and I enjoy the heck out of you.
Dude, I appreciate it, Pat. That means a lot to me. Merry Christmas, my friend. All right, we'll come back on fifth quarter, and when we do, we'll step into What's the Scoot. Blazers get the win, 109-104. They snap a 7-game slide. They'll be back at Moda Center Thursday at 7 against the
The best performing team requires the best workstations. What's the Scoot is brought to you by Office Furniture Reborn. Need desks, better office chairs, or just the right file cabinet? Office Furniture Reborn has a huge selection of colors and sizes to choose from. So drop by Office Furniture Reborn's huge showroom just off Pacific Highway in 217 or visit www.officefurniturereborn.com.
All right, once again, back-to-back games now for Scoot Henderson, who got off to a strong start tonight, really making his impact in that first half. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see from Scoot, getting off to a strong start and being aggressive and, playing with a little bit more purpose, which I think is terrific from him. And in that first quarter today, Scoot came off the bench, 7 points, had a couple of rebounds, 2 of 4 shooting, and was aggressive from the start, which is exactly what Coach Billups is looking for. He finished the night with 29 minutes of action, 9 points on 3 of 9 shooting, 0 of 2 from downtown. He had 5 assists and 4 rebounds. Malcolm Brogdon got the majority of minutes, 32 of them. He played a ton in the second half with Shaden Sharp stepping out because of the oblique situation. And so, for Scoot, just continue to work hard, make progress, and press forward and make the most of your opportunities. And, he has looked much better on offense over the last couple of weeks, but especially the last 3 or 4 ball games. So I like what I see from Scoot, and he's just got to continue to press forward. And, like I said, the unfortunate part with all the guards is that his minutes are going to continue to be limited to a degree. And he needs more minutes. He needs more time. He needs to be able to play so he can continue to develop. But I like what I see from him.
You give me a look, so I'll talk. Thanks. No, hey, I just want to point out because we had the.
I don't have to give you a look. You can just jump in whenever you want.
No, you gave me the look. That's why I said thanks. Okay, wasn't sarcastic. Okay, I'm ready. Earpieces are in. Now, I just want to point out because we got this question in the chat because someone asked what's Shea dealing with, because Shea only played 8 minutes tonight, dealing with a hip adductor injury. Right,
well, it's not oblique; it's adductor. That's right.
Adductor is what it was, and someone asked what that was, and just that is the muscle around the hip on the inside of the thigh, responsible for taking the leg from outside the shoulder box and bringing it back in to your center of mass. So think like what you see people who sit down on the machine where the weights go out and they pull into the middle. That's the abductor muscle. And conversely, you have the abductor, which is the muscles on the outside responsible for moving the leg from the middle out. Like if you're laying on your side and you're moving your leg up into the air and back down. So it's that internal growing muscle responsible for bringing the legs in, which can be a tough little one when you strain it.
Yes, most definitely. My workout started today with the adductor machine, and I'm like, every time I use it, I'm like, how can something like that make a man feel like that? It shouldn't feel that way, but it does. It's brutal. And those muscles, for me, like I use them most when I'm playing golf, critical. And for basketball players, with all the twisting and the turning and the activity they do when they're airborne, they're utilizing that all the time.
Yeah. I very rarely would use the adductor machine itself because I'm very big on putting your body into actual positions it would be in, and you use that muscle more often standing up, not sitting down. So I just do like you ever see the like the discs you can put on the floor that just slide quite easily? You could do that, or like a towel in the kitchen. You'll do that one where you just slide it out and then bring it back in, and you don't need much weight at all. Like it's not a muscle that you need to load up, man. Just a little bit gets going and you'll get the burn for sure.
Yeah, and then with the abduction, yeah, it shouldn't make a grown man feel that way, but it does. All right, that's going to do it for Chris and I. We're going to be back at it. Let me double check and make sure I got the teams correct. Yep, Thursday, the Wizards will be in town. That'll be a 7 o'clock